Well, hey everybody, Wolf here, and I got some more World of Tanks for you. Now, I've covered all the default tanks in my previous videos. This time I'm going to start covering Tier 2 tanks, and I've got two in particular. These are both Soviet tanks. I'm going to cover all these guys first because, I don't know, I just really like them. The first one is going to be the BT-2, and then I'm going to the T-26. Again, these are both Tier 2 tanks. They're still considered light tanks, so let's get started. So up first is the BT-2. Now this is one of the first light tanks I got to play with after the default ones. And it's a very fast tank. It's probably the fastest one I've seen of the Tier 2 tanks. And I've played with the German ones. I've played with a couple American ones. This one I really like. It's a really nice tank here. You can see the stats and just giving you a little view here, show you what it looks like. It's a very sexy tank indeed. Now for the next one, we've got the T-26. This is another of the Tier 2 tanks. I think there may be one or two more. I can't remember. I have to look at the tech tree. And then start jumping into the Tier 3 tanks. But we'll cover those in a future video. Again, this is a really nice tank, and I'll get into the history of both of these ones in the gameplays, and I'll tell you about them in game and stuff. So let's jump over to some in-game footage here, and I'll show you how these tanks perform and talk to you a little bit about them. Okay, so up first we're going to cover the BT-2. Now, covering a little history of this tank in the real world. This was produced from about 1932 up to 41, and it was used right up to the end of the Second World War. It was used in a number of conflicts. It was used in the Spanish Civil War, and I believe that went from 36 to 39. It was used in the Winter War, which was a war between the Soviet Union and Finland, and that lasted from about November 1939 up to, I think about March 1940, something like that. The Russians didn't do so good in it. They had to basically back out. They had their asses handed to them a bit. Obviously, it was used in World War II with great success, and it was used in another war, well, kind of a war, I guess. I can't pronounce its name, but it was basically a border conflict between the Soviet Union, Japan, and Mongolia, and it was just all that kind of shit. Now, it's also, as I mentioned, it's also probably the fastest Tier 2 tank you can get in-game, and in the real world, it was actually, for its size and its armament and stuff like that, it was probably one of the fastest tanks at the time. In-game, you're probably looking at, it's got a very quick acceleration. You can get up to the 40s here, and you get this thing on a hill, you can get it even into the 50s. Came standard with I believe a 37mm cannon. I think I've got this one maxed out. I think it's still 37mm, but it's a little bit better aiming time and stuff like that. I got the engines maxed out and that. So this is a great little tank to start out with for skirmishes and stuff. Generally in game, when you have a Tier 2 tank, it's going to be paired up with more anywhere from Tier 1 to Tier 3. If you're paired up with the lower ones, Tier 1s and Tier 2s and stuff like that, this is going to be, you're going to use this obviously as a main battle tank. You can get in there, you can get in quick, flank people, if you get 2 or 3 of these on a guy, you can get a lot of rounds downrange real quick, move positions, capture objectives. It's very quick for that. Even with, as here, I just got hit. Even with the track damage, you can still move around really quick and stuff like that. So it's a huge advantage. When you start seeing T3 type tanks, though, I would definitely... Oh, there's a guy sneaking right there. When you start getting with T3 tanks in the game, with these ones, you want to take more of a support role, and you want to try to use this tank's speed to really try to sneak around, get to cover really quick. Except in that case, I just blew up. But... yeah, so there is the BT-2. Now we're going to move on to the T-26. Now this tank is actually, I don't know what it is with this tank. I seem to be very lucky in getting kills and getting assists and taking out other tanks with this one. It's not quite as fast as the BT-2, which I just shown you, but it seems to have a little bit more punch, a little bit better armor. But other than that, it's a really nice little Tier 2 tank. Some stuff about this one: it was developed from the British Vickers 6-ton. It was one of the most prolifically made tanks by the Soviet Army. There was something like 11,000 of these actually made. And they had like 53 variants. They had things like self-propelled guns. They had armored carriers. They even had remotely controlled versions of this that they used in theaters. It was used in like the Spanish Civil War, World War II. It was used in the Soviet invasion of Manchuria, and that was, I think, in 1945 when it last saw use. It was used by a few countries, not just the Russians, but the Spanish, the Chinese, the Turkish armies used it, and as well the Germans also used it in their armies. They captured several of these. The German army, the Romanians, the Hungarians, and the Finns all used captured variants of this tank. So it's quite prolifically used. It was kind of the go-to tank of the other start of World War II and of the 1930s. It was pretty much obsolete by World War II standards, but it was still, such a very simple tank to use. It's kind of, best way I can describe it, it's kind of like the AK-47 of tanks at the time. It was very simple. Anybody could use it. Easy to maintain. It was fucking everywhere, so you didn't have to worry about running out of replacement parts and stuff. And it's just a nice little tank to use. I like it. Alright, I just killed the fucker right there. But so there you have it. There's a quick little review of the T-26 and the BT-2, both Tier 2 tanks in the free-to-play MMO game World of Tanks. Hope you guys like this video. If you guys do, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. And if you guys want to try this game, as I mentioned, it's free. Pop on there. If you see me, let's shoot some rounds at each other. Let's have some fun. So until next time, have a good one.